using the setbacks as a tool for growth and learning. So I think you could put it down as in engineering or in a project related kind of concept. Maybe a tight deadline for a project. You weren't expecting that, or actually you were expecting a certain date and someone comes along and said, right, okay, we need this done next week.
Okay.
That would be a setback, but how do we learn from that?
Reflecting on your career, what's one mistake that ended up being a major learning experience for you?
Yeah. I think I can't pick out one major one. I think there's a lot of setbacks, I would call them.
Okay.
So many setbacks. I've made many mistakes, like things like interpreting the drawing the wrong way, or loads of small things like that. But if I pick out like maybe just kind of compile them as setbacks,
Sure.
and that doesn't necessarily have to be one mistake I've made, but maybe something's kind of thrown into the equation that you're not expecting or you're not used to. So I just think something from that really, using the setbacks as a tool for growth and learning. So I think you could put it down as in engineering or in a project related kind of concept. Maybe a tight deadline for a project. You weren't expecting that, or actually you were expecting a certain date and someone comes along and said, right, okay, we need this done next week.
Okay.
That would be a setback, but how do we learn from that? So I would class them as setbacks, and really the topic there I'm trying to get at really is, I think the more you, even if it's a mistake, you learn from it, and next time you're better prepared. So I would call them setbacks rather than one mistake.
But essentially learning from your mistakes and using those lessons to ideally not repeat those mistakes or improve those mistakes almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect. Cool. I think you do, but if you mentor young professionals entering the field today, what's the most important lesson you'd share with them about resilience?
Okay, yeah, I would say, don't be afraid to try something and take learning from it. So again, it's a common theme here today,
Yep.
right? But yeah, don't be afraid. I think even myself, I was kind of nervous to try something in case I failed or actually made a mistake, right? So don't be afraid to do that, because I think you take a lot from it. So you get personal learning experience. I think people view you differently as well. As long as you're accountable and actually you're trying to do the right thing, I don't think that's a huge problem. I think actually you get more from it. So, you have an idea, go with it. Did it work? Yes, perfect. If not, what do we do differently next time?
Okay. Would you say there's a limit to things you should try outside of your remit, if that makes sense? So if you're going back to early in your career, if you're a machinist, for example, would you have done something within the organization, but something completely outside of machining, if that makes sense? I don't know. Quality inspector, that's related, but you get what I mean. Something
Yeah,
kind of.
I do. I think as long as it's safe to do so, in terms of personal safety and everyone else in that business, and actually maybe it's not a dangerous workplace, but safe could mean many things. But if we let's say if we're capable of doing it, and we kind of been, let's say, supervised, or you kind of had the
Backing off the
approval, yeah, the backing, yeah, then yes, definitely. But I think I think it's a good question, because if it's unsafe to, or actually there's a high risk of something going wrong, that's maybe it's a really big priority, you can't really afford to make that mistake, then I think those things need to come under some kind of supervision. But it's a really good question, I think.
But if you're
Yeah.
given the opportunity to try something new, to learn new skills, take it.
100%, yeah, 100%. I think that's the key there. If you're, yeah, be flexible, because yeah, you can take so much from different opportunities.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. What is something you wish someone had told you when you were at the start of your career?
Yeah, I used to get told a lot by experienced engineers. I mean, they were, towards the end of their careers, saying, things like, "Don't do this. Go and learn something new. This is a dying industry." All those usual things. You don't want to end up like me. That was one of them. So I think, I think for me, it kind of had the opposite effects. I was always interested in something different.
Yeah.
So how can I learn? How can I improve? And maybe there is something different I can apply my knowledge to. So um, yeah, I think naturally I was looking to kind of gain experiences and add them to my abilities. But on reflection, I think something in future by staying with it, staying on the path, and I think it's been really useful. So something like for me, and this is kind of what I do with my team now and some of the younger people, is kind of look into Lean Six Sigma, project management skills, strategic planning. So I think that would have been great advice. Just stick with what you're doing because it is applicable to other industries, other sectors. It's not just in a small machine shop somewhere, but that problem solving mindset, all those things apply. That's kind of how I try to develop a team is, and they're the key things. If you kind of stick with a, Lean Six Sigma, it covers a lot of manufacturing, engineering stuff. It's quite big in NHS and the banking,
I
finance.
don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Project management, again, applicable everywhere, and strategic planning. So they're the three things I would say. Sticking with it, but maybe look at a little bit deeper with.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And then finally, looking ahead, what skills or knowledge do you think could be critical for the next generation to succeed?
Okay, yeah, I think we can't get away from artificial
Yeah,
intelligence. So
I think pretty much everyone I've interviewed so far said the same
yeah,
thing.
uh, and yeah, I need to get my head around it as well. But in
Me too.
terms of engineering, manufacturing, I think it has a big role to play. So whether that be kind of autonomous kind of processes, um, all the way to data gathering and then what you do with that data. So I think AI is one. I think if it's used as buzzwords in organizations usually, and it's kind of rivaling sustainability now with that new trend. Um, engaging new workers and investors. But I think truly understanding those two areas, AI and sustainability, I think is kind of a game changer for the next generation. So they could lead efforts in those areas with real meaningful outcomes.
Yeah.
The sustainability now is so big that I'm not sure how many people really understand it. And there's plans like 2050 to be XYZ, but do they really understand it? So I think those two areas, and just as an addition, I think kind of soft skills, really, because they're two kind of things you can learn. But soft skills, understanding others, I think is key.
Yeah.
How to get best out of people or how to interact best with people. Some coaching courses. There's something that I've done a few times, but called the Grow model. That's really good.
Okay.
So that really helps with a lot of breakthrough performance coaching, and go back to PDCA. Really master the Plan, Do, Check, Act, and they're all interlinked. So yeah, I think those things there, not just in work but in personal life, really helps as well.
Perfect. No, thank you, Martin. That was really insightful, especially the last bits there about, especially that specific. What was it called? Sorry, the coaching course or the
The Grow model. So
growing bit?
yeah, it's pretty
Okay.
good. Yeah, so you get like basically it's a goal. So you have a goal. What's the reality? What are the options? And then what's the way forward? So
Okay.
it's kind of a circle a bit. So PDCA, it's very similar. It's
Yeah.
all linked, but really just looking at coaching for breakthrough and performance. I think it came from sport originally. So
Okay.
yeah.
Perfect. No, as I said, thank you very much. It was really, really insightful. Really appreciate you taking the time to have a conversation. And yeah, I generally think that'd be really helpful for the next generation. So thanks very much.